Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome to Local Store Marketing Tips, Tricks, and Tactics. I am Mike Magerl. I am president of Trabon Printing Company in Kansas City. We are a Kansas City-based company. We specialize in printing and marketing collateral for the restaurant industry. We provide portals, we provide fulfillment, everything that the store needs to keep going and to keep gaining business. Rev is a fractional CMO for multi-unit brands, including Salad House, has 20 locations, and co-owner and CMO of Handcrafted Burgers and Brews in New York City. Rev is also a content creator on multiple social platforms, a podcast host, speaker, and a minor league baseball advocate.
Thank you.
Mitch Baker here on the end. Mitch is Vice President of Marketing for Robex. Mitch assumed the role of Vice President in February of 2019. Prior to his current position, he co-founded Drink Coffee and Tea, franchising in Quince Juice Bar in Los Angeles, where he's also served as Chief Marketing Officer. Outside of work, he enjoys spending time with his 5-year-old Golden Doodle, exploring dog-friendly spots around Los Angeles. Next on our panel, Seth Larson, Chief Development Officer for Cheba Hut. Seth currently operates in 17 states and 28 restaurants, open in another 20 openings in the next 18 months in a push to get 100 units.
Yeah, we got 80 open.
So Seth does not sleep. All right, Jane McPherson. She's the Senior VP of Marketing at Penn Station Subs. Jane built her first local store marketing binder for Quiznos back in 2002 with a massive collection of hundreds of pages filled with executable store-level concepts and ad slicks. Since then, Jane has gone to lead national marketing for technology startups, Mrs. Fields, Capriati's, and now serves, of course, with Penn Station. Jane recently moved from Denver to Cincinnati, where she enjoys watching the wildlife out of her office window. Anyway, thank you all again for agreeing to be on this panel. Wanted to start out, I'm going to shoot this over to you, Mitch. I want you to define local store marketing. What are we talking about when we say local store marketing?
My feeling is local store marketing is connecting with your community, your 2 to 3, your 3 to 5 mile radius. It's your customers, your guests, your regulars that you're seeing, literally in some cases in some of our concepts that are out there that can be an everyday experience. So it's really connecting with and integrating yourself into your guests that are really around your local trade area, right? It's really making them a part of your family. And because typically in most cases, we're really, unless, some of the national brands that, have got the dollars to really do that mass media, type of advertising, but really, I think a lot of it really makes a difference if you can connect locally around your, again, I'll call it a 3 to 5 mile or 2 to 5 mile radius.
So our first topic for this morning is what local store marketing's efforts have delivered the greatest impact for your brand. Can we start out with Jane?
Yes. So Penn Station is a 40-year-old brand, and we have the benefit of longevity in that department. We have 320 locations, but for probably the entire, the 90s and the aughts, our Dayton franchise owners in particular were just incredibly diligent about sponsoring every youth team in town. We had about 15 locations, which was pretty saturated for Dayton, and allowed us to have a big enough footprint to have a really active role with youth sports. And that then laddered up to them inventing a program for Athlete of the Year with the Dayton TV station. So that just really, what that has allowed them to do is just be really, create an opportunity to be on the back of every kid's t-shirt in town, but also, after the games are on Saturdays, is everybody goes to Penn Station, all the moms and dads take their little leaguers to Penn Station on Saturdays. So that has just allowed us to be really present in Dayton around all the stores, and also I think that's a true test of really sticking with a program and iterating it and making it work over the long term until you get it to a point where it's really omnipresent in the community. And so we're trying to unwind the programs where, franchise owners were looking for those easy buttons over and signing long-term contracts for sponsorships, or doubling down and saying, okay, you signed this long-term contract with a sponsorship. Let's actually develop a marketing program to drive people into your stores and also make your customers aware of the sponsorship.
Seth, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, those are all great points. How many people know Chiba Hut? You guys familiar? Okay.
I like Kool-Aid.
Yeah, we're the #1 Kool-Aid account in the country. That is true. 250,000 gallons a year. So you guys might be wondering why a development guy is on the marketing panel. I've worn a lot of hats at Chiba Hut over the years. I was deeply involved in this brand, in scaling it, and currently oversee development. And that's kind of where I think local store marketing starts. If you guys have been into a Chiba Hut, we do all hand-painted murals. We don't do wallpaper, we don't do a single design and then put it on the wall. Every mural is custom, and it usually ties in that local community, the history of that community, something that makes it special, and then using a local artist to actually execute that. Really, really important. Music and art, tie communities together, and that's really important. Our locations do have full bars. It only accounts for about 9% of our sales, but also an opportunity to partner with local breweries and/or distilleries. Of course, we have some preferred partners, national partners that we need to support, but we do give some flexibility to our franchisees to really make those local connections and support those local businesses, distilleries, and breweries. I do think, to Mitch's point, it is a 3 to 5 mile radius, but I also think it's a little bit broader than that. I just got a text from one of our franchisees in Eugene, Oregon. He's been up there 10 years, and College Game Day is gonna be up there next week. And they've catered for ESPN like 12 times already. So they literally text them when they're coming into town, and they're like, hey, we need our normal $1,500 catering order. I think, living those core values of, we have a core value, it's called Own It. It's think and shop, think and act shop first. Answering those text messages when ESPN texts and knocking it out of the park, also part of that local store marketing. So again, trying to create that connection between art, music, and food, and then making sure that our franchisees and those local operators are the Chiba Hut in their market, right? It's not us as the franchisor. They are the rock stars in their community and building them up whenever possible.
All right. Rev?
I would say the most important local store marketing move that I've ever been involved with that always pays a return is get your guests into your CRM. So I don't care if you're using a feedback tool, I don't care if it's loyalty, I don't care if it's an app download, I don't care if it's join our e-club, but if you get every single guest that walks into your door to become unknown, it's much easier than having a room full of unknowns. And so while I would double click on everything that's already been said on this panel, to me there's nothing more important than CRM growth.
Mitch?
I agree 100%. I mean, probably the most, one of the most successful tactics and ways to drive traffic and create trial is to figure out a way to get product to that customer in terms of a sample and a trial. Because in most cases, I'm sure many of us have got incredible products and great taste. Once they try it one time, that typically will hook them in. And again, that's one way, but of course, going back to the local element of it. And I think, by the way, a lot of franchisees, in our case, and in many cases, a lot of the folks out here, they're in their store, they're running their store, they're managing, they're scheduling, they're operating, they're ordering. They don't necessarily always make the time to get out and market locally. But I think, if you could really explain the massive benefit that you can get from integrating in your community, and there's so much low-hanging fruit around these local communities, low-hanging fruit, whether it's a local school or your neighboring, soccer field that's got games going on, whatever it might be. Again, that connection is so easy to make. And again, that's, I think, what incorporates and ingratiates you into your community locally. by doing some of those local, easy to execute tactics. I mean, not following the plan, not having enough staffing, not being prepared in terms of product, not doing the right things to connect to the community, to drive them into an event or to create that trail. That's really typically what will result in a failed execution, in my opinion, and from my experience. That's where I think you have the opportunity for potential failure or not quite being executed, as well as you had initially intended.
Great, that's a great lead into our next topic. What are you doing to help franchisees not only adopt and feel motivated to run local store marketing programs? And then what tools are you using that you feel it make the biggest difference? Seth?
Just to piggyback on what Mitch was saying there, we have a term for that. It's called "Don't Drive Sales to the Shit Show." So we want to make sure that ops are rock solid. Let's not forget that operational excellence is the #1 marketing tool you could probably have. So, making sure that we're delivering on the promise, whatever brand you're working with, delivering on that promise and making sure that ops are sound before you start driving sales, really, really important. And also to Mitch's point, like right person, right seat, right? We have franchisees that are great franchisees and operators, but might not be the right fit for being a marketer. So making sure that they find that right person on their team as the marketing lead to own some of those efforts, also really, really important. I hate accounting. I would never live in the accounting seat. That's why we hire great financial people. So same thing on the marketing side.
Product quality and customer service, key. And I don't know if he's out there, my friend CJ from Doghouse, he used a term called market relations, because truly, you've got to be partners, in our business with operations, because again, they've got to deliver that, or at least teach franchisees. In the case of a franchise organization, they've got to deliver the promise that you're putting up, on the wall or, on a billboard or wherever. So it's really key that you've got that great partnership.
You think about it, really, local store marketing at this point really is your reputation.
Yep.
So to a large extent, you have to start with a great reputation in the market. And so engaging consumers to get them on board with, giving you star ratings or, giving you a good review or joining your email program, it does really start at the restaurant in terms of engaging consumers, but you have to start with a great reputation. That's the now foundational part of local store marketing. If you don't have a good reputation, it's hard to leverage your community involvement to get more sales.
How about tools?
So, we got franchise owners really excited. We just refreshed all of our local store marketing materials, and our printer has a great online portal for ordering. And now they're calling me and asking me for more. So I think refreshing and getting a fresh look at everything is really energizing to franchise owners. And I think where the way our printer works is franchise owners go online and customize the materials with all of their own, they have multiple choice coupons they can select. They can, put all their own store information on there. So that interface that allows them to create customized materials is really important, but just refreshing all the art has really energized them.
Yeah, I think those are all great points. I think walking the walk and talking the talk is really important. We do have a history of operating quite a few company stores. We have 3 currently. I'm a big proponent of making sure that our franchisees aren't crash test dummies on anything. So, we want to make sure that if we're recommending something that it's tried and true. So, we really try to lead by example and show them what's in it for them, by way of storytelling and showing what we've done in the past there. The templates are great. We definitely have buy-in there. I also think it's important to make sure that it's easy to not spend marketing dollars when things are going really well, right? You don't want to get behind that curve and then have to turn it around, because that's a much taller climb. So just those smaller incremental investments on the marketing side pay huge dividends and keep same store sales and same store interactions in an upward trajectory, which is good.
I think what also works well is if you have a franchisee that has executed a program, or certainly you've done something yourself, and you could show the ROI, you could show the example, you could have that, validation from a franchisee, I think that really can go pretty far because, they're part of that same, it's like, hey, listen, I've got 2 stores or 1 store, I'm doing it and it's working. Why don't you try it to help build your sales?
One of our top products that we work with has a list of the top 10 ordered local store marketing campaigns. And so that's been successful for the franchisees to see what other people are doing. So one more question, one more topic. AI. It's out there, it's a topic of everything I see anymore is all about AI. I'll just leave it broad here. How do you feel like AI is going to affect local store marketing in your companies?
Well, I think we're already seeing it in terms of kind of going to that foundational part of your reputation in your trade area is really your first step of local store marketing, and just using AI, driven responses to reviews and directory reviews is already in play. In terms of content creation, I think it will just make content creation easier for franchise owners as we get materials developed that they can then, go through some type of AI tool to come up with the right, offers for their market, or come up with the right partnerships for their market. I think that is an opportunity as well. But a lot of that is right now. What they should be doing is just knowing their community and not having to rely on an AI agent in order to help them.
Seth?
Oh, AI. So I think a couple things. It's only as good as what you put into it. I think AI is real good for like ideation and some of those things. But my concern is that everyone is going to be doing the same things because everyone is using the same platforms. So I think it is really important to use a specific instance of Gemini or ChatGPT so you're not giving away trade secrets, which I think is really important. We have a pretty good history of zigging when others are zagging. So, if everyone's gonna lean into AI, I have a feeling we're gonna push this way. And it's kind of like Seinfeld episode where George does the opposite and it just works out beautifully. Like, maybe if we commit to that, I think it would actually be pretty cool. But again, I think it's great for ideation. I think you should definitely use your own specific private instance of AI to protect your secrets. And certainly have an AI policy. What you don't need is every single operator out there just putting in massive amounts of information that may or may not be proprietary. So that's a couple nuggets there. On the flip side, our senior director of design and construction, we have an awesome architect. Her name's Cassie. We call her the Wizard. He took her picture and said, put a wizard hat on her and then make the pattern of the wizard hat a blueprint of Chiba Hut floor plan, and it looked awesome. And I was like, that's what AI should be used for, stuff like that. So just a little nugget there to tie it in. Yeah.
I think at Salad House, we generally use AI as a thought partner. So, hey, we're working on something, we're ideating something, we want to rewrite a plan, and so it's somebody that we can, we treat it like a person. It's something that we can bounce ideas off, and it's like, well, I had this idea, and you had this idea, and you wanted to say it that way, and you want to say it this way, and our brand document says it this way, and like, throw it all in there. Come back with 3 options. Oh, I like that one. So we definitely use it for a thought partner. But like, and again, if you're building AI products, like I want an AI product that tells me what I should do. Like, don't make me try to sort the rune stones. Like, tell me what they say. And because your product is probably working with lots of other vendors or lots of other brands, like, what do you see across it?
Mitch?
Yeah, no, I really agree with what everyone said here. I'm not sure how, other than, having a resource for information, for fine-tuning things, for messaging, for ideas and thoughts, I'm not sure AI is that applicable to local marketing. Of course, it can give you information. However, AI, in its so many different forms, I think AI means so many different things in many cases, can really be the major piece in a lot of the tools that operators or franchisees or marketers can use to get out into their local community, right? Whatever the tool might be, whether it's a survey or whether it's understanding further your guest, I think it's just enhancing those tools to be able to implement and execute your programs and implement your ideas and sort of incorporate yourself into the community by understanding what's going on in the community. You could dive deeper with AI, right? Oh my gosh, there's, 16 nonprofit organizations that we could be a partner in giving to their organization through our product. We had no idea there were so many. They could be large, they could be small. Things that AI could help with, just to help inform you about who you should market around your local trading area, your local marketing opportunity area.
I agree with that. It's really amazing when you put in a zip code and say, tell me the businesses between this sizes, or tell me the dentist's office, or tell me the local charities. And it is really great for that business sourcing and prioritizing businesses to visit with samples, or the soccer teams to reach out to. So it is really great in terms of list generation to really identify how, in a specific zip code, what community partners should rise to the top of your priority list.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you to this panel. Hopefully you got what you needed today. If you didn't, I know these guys here like to talk, so feel free to jump up, stop by our booth out in the lobby here. Anyway, thank you so much, and have a rest.
Thank you, Mike.
Of your leadership.
Trabon.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Please visit my elevator, printed by Trabon.
Yeah,
Very
elevator,
excited.
yeah. Rev accepted his elevator award yesterday.
I'm very excited. I'm elevator famous now. Thank you.